Okay, good morning. Thank you all for being patient. We wanted to give a few extra minutes given the weather and let folks get in and get settled, so thank you this morning. I'd like to call today's Metro Sports Authority Board of Directors meeting to order for November 1st. Thank you for the Tennessee Titans for hosting us today. We will be hearing from them later this morning in today's agenda. As you know, the appeals process for any action of this board can be found at the top of the agenda. You have your meeting minutes in our board packet. They were sent out on Monday from our last full board meeting from September 20th. At this time, we will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. We have a second motion and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. At this time, we will hear from our Executive Director, Monica.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. You have the agenda before you. We are going to make a slight adjustment to the agenda, and this will happen under the Finance Committee report. So if you look at your agenda, we will start with consideration of the CMA parking settlement statement, and then we'll move to the TSU signage, that resolution. Then we'll discuss the construction management agreement, and then we will follow that up with the SEC, the agreement. Okay, if that works for everybody. Following, I guess just in terms of the agenda, following the Finance Committee report, there will be an MLS Stadium update. We will then entertain facility questions as usual, and then we'll hear the Titans report. Any questions about the agenda? Okay. Well, I have just a couple of quick updates for you. We are still negotiating the parking contract with Stewart Parking Solutions. This is something that we've been talking about for quite a while. And as you know, we've seen remarkable growth in the city and over here at Nissan Stadium, especially with regards to events. And so as we continue to see this growth, and as the number of events and the shuttle that the Downtown Partnership runs, as those programs grow, there's just a real need for active management of the lots. And so we've been having some good conversations as we negotiate the contract with Stewart Parking. We want to make sure that we look at an increased presence and also public safety. So we're going to wrap that up, and we hopefully will bring that to you at the next meeting. Also wanted to note that this year I have the privilege of co-chairing the Metro Employees Consolidated Charities Campaign, which is a lot to say. We call it the MECCC, and it's a great campaign. It's an opportunity that gives Metro employees a chance to give back to the community. We cooperate and work with the United Way, and there are so many different charities and nonprofit organizations that Metro employees are able to contribute to. And in addition to individual giving, we also, a lot of departments will host their own fundraiser. And so this year, the Sports Authority held a silent auction, and I wanted to thank all of our partners and facilities for the donations that were made, and they contributed tickets, ticket packaging. I know Scott Ramsey's here, the Music City Bowl, the Sounds, the Predators, Fordyce Center, everyone participated, and we just really appreciate that. We raised, I think, close to $1,300 towards the campaign, and are excited about that piece. So. I think the other thing I wanted to note, and Alicia at the Finance Committee meeting, Alicia is serving as the president of MESA, which is the Metro Executive Secretaries Association. And so they've done a lot of fantastic work, and last week held their annual Bosses Lunch, and just, it was a fantastic event. And so I want to thank her for her work, not only on the silent auction, but for what she's doing with MESA. It's really important that we stay plugged in with other departments and we know what's going on. So I just wanted to brag on her a little bit. At 1 o'clock, this is my last thing, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, there will be a groundbreaking over at the fairgrounds for their new expo buildings. I think you've received an invitation to that, and if you're able to come, we really would encourage that. I think we're all excited to see the progress that's being made over there, and there's a lot going on. So if you're able to come, please try to do that. Are there any questions? If not, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Monica. At this time, we will hear from our Finance Committee. That Finance Committee just met last Wednesday. It was a full agenda, and our acting chair is Dudley West. And today, we are pleased to have Dudley provide us with the Finance Committee update.
Thanks, Kim. As she said, we met on October 24th. We had several members of the Sports Authority who are not members of the Finance Committee who joined us, and we appreciate your input. We were asked to consider 4 items on the agenda, and I'm going to go through each one of them. The first one was the 2018 Country Music Association parking settlement. The second related to TSU signage at Nissan Stadium. The third item involved the construction management agreement between the Sports Authority and Mortensen Messer. And the final item was an agreement with between the Nashville Sports Council, Powers Management, and the Nashville Convention Visitors Corp for the SEC basketball tournament. The materials for all these items are in tabs 3 through 6 of the binder. Board approval is requested for each one, so I'm going to go through each one. The first one was consideration of the 2018 parking settlement statement, which is under tab 3. The background of this, the 2012 license agreement between the Sports Authority and the Country Music Association related to the annual CMA Music Fest. It is an agreement pursuant to which the Sports Authority allows the CMA to use its facility, and the CMA agrees to divide and pay net revenue generated from the fees for parking spaces. And the division, it's 25% for the Sports Authority, 25% for Cumberland Stadium Inc., and 50% from the CMA. Under tab 3 is the calculation of the 2018 parking settlement. Page 1, there's a comparison chart between 2017 and 2018 net revenue. In 2018, total parking revenue is $146,141, which was a slight increase over 2017, where the net revenue was $144,568. The Sports Authority's 25% share of that is $36,540. Additional materials in the under tab 3. You've got the invoices in the backup for the calculation. Brasher Burbank of Stewart Parking Systems is here, as is Gene Kaufman of the Titans to answer any questions. The Finance Committee recommended approval of the settlement, so I would move approval of the CMA 2018 Music Fest parking settlement contained under tab 3 of the materials.
Thank you. We have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is properly seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next item on the agenda was consideration of TSU signage at Nissan Stadium. Under tab 5, you'll find materials relating to that. There is a resolution, materials, emails dated September 18th and October 4th from Steve Underwood, some invoices, and also photos of the proposed locations of the sign. The background on this is that at our last meeting, Titans CEO Steve Underwood advised the board that the Titans had received a request from TSU related to signage on the interior of Nissan Stadium. Since then, Monica, on behalf of the Sports Authority, Nissan Stadium personnel, TSU President Glover have had numerous conversations about the proposed signage. The lease provides that TSU is entitled to permanent and prominent signage with lettering large enough to be readable from most points in the seating area of the stadium. It's a lesser obligation. And to satisfy this requirement, to enable the signage to be seen throughout the stadium, the Sports Authority has proposed to pay for 2 signs, and the Titans have agreed to pay for 2 signs. The total cost of the signage is, I believe, $27,800. I think at one point here, the resolution says it's 28,500, but I believe it's 27,500, but I believe it's 28,800. And the quote is under tab 4 of your materials. Yesterday, there was a resolution circulated along with an agreement memorializing what the parties have agreed to. And the Sports Authority recommended approval of the concepts. And this morning, I would move approval of the resolution that you've received, as well as a copy of the agreement.
We have a motion to approve the TSU signage, of which 50% will be paid from the Sports Authority operating budget and the other half with the Titans. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. For the remaining items in the Finance Committee report, our Vice Chair will be taking over the meeting. So,
Okay.
happy?
All right, thank you, and good morning to everyone. Dudley, we will move forward with the third item.
Okay, the third item on the agenda was consideration of the construction management agreement between the Sports Authority and Mortensen Messer Construction Company. Under tab 6 of your materials, you'll see a resolution authorizing the Sports Authority Chair to execute an agreement for construction management services for the Nashville Major League Soccer Stadium project between the Sports Authority and Mortensen Messer Construction Company. At our last meeting on September 20th, the Sports Authority voted to engage Mortensen Messer Construction Company to be the construction manager for the MLS Stadium project. And since then, there have been contract negotiations which have resulted in the agreement which is attached to the resolution. Tom Cross, who is the Metro Associate Law Director, has led the negotiations on behalf of Metro. He's here this morning. I understand that Mary Kavara and Ron Gobble are both here as well, and they've been involved in that contract. The Finance Committee voted to recommend approval. Mr. Cross, is there anything you'd like to add regarding this?
Nothing to add. I'd be happy to answer questions if you have any.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I will, to get it on the table, I'll move to approve the resolution under tab 6 of your materials and to approve the agreement attached thereto.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the construction manager contract between the Sports Authority and Mortensen Messer Construction Company. Is there a second? A second. Okay. Discussion? Any questions? Discussion? If not, all of those in favor of moving forward with the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay, and abstains.
I need to abstain, please.
Okay, thank you.
The final item on our agenda is consideration of an agreement between the Sports Authority, the Nashville Sports Council, Powers Management as manager of the arena, and the Nashville Convention Center, which related to the SEC basketball tournament. Under tab 4, you'll see there's a proposed resolution allowing the Sports Authority to enter into an agreement, which is attached to the resolution, in order for the Nashville Sports Council and Nashville to serve as host for the SEC men's tournament from 2019 through 2021 and 2023 through 2035, and for the women's tournament in 2022. The background of this is that the Nashville Sports Council has had an agreement to bring 9 SEC basketball tournaments to Bridgestone between 2015 and 2025. And this proposed agreement would extend the agreement to 2035 under the current terms. The people involved in the negotiation of the contract were Mr. Scott Ramsey, the Executive Director of the Nashville Sports Council, who's here today to answer questions if anyone has any, Sean Henry of Bridgestone, Bob Lackey at Metro Finance, and Margaret Darby on behalf of Metro Legal. There are several points worth noting with regard to this. First is related to the financial impact. As noted in the resolution, the 7 SEC tournaments up to now have generated an estimated $120 million in economic impact for Nashville. The 2019 through 2021 and 2023 through 2035 men's tournaments are estimated to deliver an approximately $335 million in direct economic impact. and more than 500 hours of national TV exposure for Nashville. The funding for this comes from the Arena Revenue Fund. The Arena Revenue Fund is funded by sales tax, rents, and seat use charges. Mr. Lackey of Metro Finance has done an analysis of this, and his conservative analysis, I understand, shows that the Arena Revenue Fund can absorb expenses through at least 2028 when the contract with Powers expires. There is a termination right that can be given by the Sports Authority prior to December 31st of 2026, which could terminate the contract following the 2028 tournament if there is any problem with funding. The Finance Committee recommends approval, and to get this on the table, I will move approval of the resolution and the agreement under tab 4 of the materials.
Okay, thank you, Dudley. There's a motion on the floor to approve the agreement with the Nashville Sports Council, Powers Management, and the NCVC for the SEC Men's Basketball Tournament. Is there a second?
A second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Yes.
I'd like the record to reflect I'm recusing myself because I'm on the board of the Nashville Sports Council.
Thank you.
I will also abstain on this one as well.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions? If not, would all of those in favor of approval of this motion signify by saying aye? Aye. Opposers, nay? The motion passes.
That concludes our report.
Okay. Thank you, Dudley, for that very detailed report. I had the opportunity to sit in as an interim board member on the Finance Committee, and there's a lot of work that goes on there. And I think that you all have done a really great job, and as a board, we've done a great job vetting these issues. So this time, I'll turn it back over to our chair to continue the meeting.
Thank you, Kathy. You're very good at that. Keep in mind
Right.
for next year. I believe next up is our MLS Stadium update. Mary Cavara is with us today, and we'll give the board a brief update. Thank you.
Good morning, and please forgive me, I just got back from the dentist this morning, so half my face is still numb, but our update will be really brief. We remain in the design process with the architect, and I would imagine by the next Sports Authority board meeting, we'll be in a position to share some updated renderings and some more information about the details. We continue to work through the programming, trying to balance that with some updated cost estimates, just to make sure it still fits within our preliminary budget. And otherwise, remain working on getting ready to launch our team. MLS has not officially declared whether it's 2020 or 2021, but we're getting ready for 2020. So if there's any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Seeing none. Thank you, Mary. You have our facility summaries and our binders. This is the time we would entertain any additional questions for our facility partners, Bridgestone Arena, Ford Ice Center, and First Tennessee Park. If there are any questions regarding the reports?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to compliment the sounds on the video that was sent out to us, the Halloween video. I thought it was exceptional and very fun to watch and just a great event. So appreciate them letting us see that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And
Any other?
I would also say, I spoke with Adam and Doug this morning before the meeting, and they have an announcement that they would like to make if they can come up at this time.
I guess we'll let them. Come on up, guys.
Well, good morning. Adam Nace, General Manager with the Nashville Sounds, and we were talking with Monica about an exciting announcement, and she asked us to come up and share it that on November the 15th, we're going to be announcing a new rebrand, a new change in our logos. A press release just went out moments ago, so I wanted you all to know that you're invited at 6 o'clock at our ballpark. We watched the massive success that happened with the Titans and their rebrand. Ours was kind of underway prior to that, but watching the excitement around Nashville, around that Titans rebrand was something that we wanted to do as well. About a month ago, we announced a change to the Texas Rangers, and so the timing was just right to have that new look come out. So I think it's something that the city of Nashville will be really proud of. And again, 11:15 6 p.m. at First Tennessee Park. I don't know if we're going to have as big of an event as the Titans did, but it should be a great event. Hall of Fame catcher Pudge Rodriguez will be coming in and signing autographs. So just wanted to be here in person and invite everybody in this room to attend that day. So thank you.
Adam. Great. We look forward to it. Next up, we have our Tennessee Titans.
One quick comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have one quick comment, because I was, in reviewing the materials, I noticed that for the second straight year, Nashville ranked as the best minor league baseball city by smartasset.com, and that Doug Scopel, Vice President of Operations, was named minor league baseball executive of the year by Ballpark Digest. And those are great accomplishments.
Thank you, Dudley. That's exciting news from our friends at the Sounds. And now we will get an update from Mr. Underwood, President and CEO of the Tennessee Titans.
Madam Chair, members, welcome. We're glad to have you here and glad to be hosting you. For the few here who I have not had the privilege of meeting, my name is Steve Underwood. I am President of Tennessee Titans in Nissan Stadium. And on behalf of our owners and staff, let me again offer you a warm welcome to our building. We're pleased to be hosting this month's meeting and have a great presentation lined up for you, and it includes remarks and information from several members of our senior staff. I always want to take time to introduce our employees who are not part of the presentation. Derek Amalunke is here doing the AV this morning. All of you know, of course, our stadium's general manager, Walter Overton. Our Vice President and General Counsel, Bert Nyhill, is also here. We appreciate the contribution that each of them make to our success, and I feel privileged to introduce them here today. Other members of our senior staff, including Stuart Spears, Janine Kaufman, and Bob Flynn, will also be making presentations this morning. As we begin our presentation, I want to offer a couple of short videos. These will only take a few moments. These videos prominently display several of our players and their families, our owners, some of our other football staff, and what we asked them to do was to address the things that are most important to them outside of the context of our sport in an effort to more humanize our players and their causes. We believed it was incumbent on us to offer them a platform so that they can let the community know what's important to them and why. This approach was developed by Tina Tuggle, who is our Director of Community Relations. We're so grateful to have her on our staff, and was welcomed by our players. We've been making the videos available during Titan home games, and of course they're also available on our homepage. Every worthy cause needs a way to be known. So, Derek, if you'll start those for us.
We stand for the Titan community, for everyone to have a voice,
for loving our neighbors while building a foundation to serve others in our local community.
equal access for educational opportunity.
This team is a family, and when an issue affects one of us, it affects all of us.
It really is a feeling of family. It's a feeling that we're all in this thing together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together. Together. We stand. We stand for the Titan community, for everyone to have a voice,
For loving our neighbors while building a foundation to serve others in our local community.
equal access for educational opportunity.
This team is a family, and when an issue affects one of us, it affects all of us.
It really is a feeling of family. It's a feeling that we're all in this thing together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together. Together. We stand.
We stand for social justice,
Public education, youth empowerment, education equity,
For a world without juvenile diabetes.
social injustice reform,
and leveling the playing field for people in need.
It really is a feeling of family. It's a feeling that we're all in this thing together.
We are all in this together. We have to make changes together. Together. Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
We stand.
The videos are brief, as you can see, but a lot of work went into them, and I offer my compliments to our staff who put all that together. They do such a beautiful job for us. Let me now introduce one of my longtime friends and colleagues, one of our senior vice presidents, Stuart Spears, who's going to offer an update on our ticketing, our recent trip to London, and some of the other activities that we've had going on as an organization. Once again, welcome from all of us.
Good morning. Thank you for the time. Appreciate you guys coming to our home, Nissan Stadium, and allowing us to update you a little bit on what we have going on. Ticket sales, of course, are the lifeblood of our organization and such an important part of the relationship that we have with you guys. So I'm pleased to update you that ticket sales for this season are progressing well. We are tracking to not only exceed our season ticket numbers from the previous years, but also our single game numbers. So by the end of the year, we're on pace to have our total number of units sold this year to be in excess of what we did last year. So we obviously keep hoping to keep that model year to year moving upwards, and are pleased that it looks like it will do so this year. Also on ticketing, we introduced digital ticketing this year into our operations. It is following a league-wide trend and really an industry-wide trend away from paper tickets. The future is really modeled after the elimination of carrying a piece of paper or a little cardboard stub in your hands, and is going to more mobile devices, and we are falling in with that trend. It has been a complicated process, but I'm pleased that our season ticket base has fallen in and seen the benefits and is active in that mode, and the resulting ease of transferring tickets and giving tickets to friends, clients, et cetera, as well as we've seen a dramatic drop in incidents of fraud and counterfeit tickets and so forth. And so we will continue to maintain pace with technology and to keep our ease of entry into the stadium at the forefront of our objectives. At home games, it is important for us to create the most entertaining and active environment around the stadium. To that end, over the years, you've seen us on the south end of the stadium create a platform for some music and entertainment, as well as interactive games, and it's been greatly successful to create a festive environment as people come across the pedestrian bridge and entertain themselves prior to the games on our campus. This year, we have expanded that onto the east side. On the other side of the stadium, you'll see some of the events. We have up a 40-yard dash where people can time themselves on this on the carpet out in front of Gate 1. A vertical jump activity has been put up on that side, just ways to engage folks, get them on the campus as early as possible, and just enhance their overall game day experience. We've just returned from London. It was a fantastic opportunity and tremendous success for our organization. It was a chance to promote the Titan brand and the Nashville brand on a global scale. Titan fans enjoyed the trip. They showed up in force as expected. British Airways, which recently started their nonstop flights from Nashville to London, saw a spike in business that week, and so they were thrilled in the days leading up to the game and the days following the game to have that increased traffic on their flights. The groups that sell travel packages to the games let us know that more Nashville and Titan fans bought packages, so there were more packages sold in this region than any of the other 5 teams experienced that participated in the games this year. So we were thrilled and honored to represent Nashville and the state of Tennessee in the NFL International Series this year, and are pleased that it went so well. As you all are probably aware, the NFL draft is bearing down upon us. It'll be next April here before we know it, so activities are in full flow to prepare for that. Commissioner Roger Goodell was in town for the Eagles game at the end of September for an event we held at the stadium that some of you were able to attend, and we were pleased that that was able to happen. He was in town to check on the progress, to assist with fundraising, all of which are progressing well. The event will be the largest sporting event that the state of Tennessee has ever hosted. It's a monumental global event that we're just so very proud to be a part of. By way of example, Dallas hosted the event earlier this year, and a recent report noted that it had in excess of $125 million in economic impact on the Dallas region. So we're, again, excited and honored to play a role in helping stage that event in this market coming very soon. As well as our activities inside and around the stadium, we work very diligently to try and support and assist our players in investing back in our community. Some examples of that could be the Team Smile event we hosted here at the stadium in September, which provides oral health care to underserved youth from the area. Each home game, we partner up with a different player, identifying a local nonprofit that's important to them, and bring a group of youth through that organization to the game and have a pregame tailgate party for them, a tour of the stadium, and then provide them seats in the stands to enjoy the game. Just completed our Second Harvest Food Drive, an annual event that is one of the most popular partnerships that we have. We're excited this year that we expanded it from just game day to the whole weekend as an opportunity for fans to interact and provide food and donations, and we're pleased that that did result in a spike in both food donations and monetary donations, and that was all achieved in partnership with our friends at Kroger and Second Harvest Food Bank. Youth football is a priority for our organization to continue to grow the sport in future generations, and we're excited every season that we were able to partner with youth football teams from around the region to bring their teams to Nissan Stadium and play games on our field, on the same field as their heroes, following Titan home games in the early part of the year. So we're excited that we had in excess of 14 youth football organizations represented after our September home games. Along that same line, the NFL and its member clubs have an initiative called Play 60 that we push every year to encourage activity and encourage mobility in our youth. And so we have a elementary school program and a middle school program, two different platforms that we take out weekly during the season to schools around Nashville and Middle Tennessee. And it's an honor that we are able to be welcomed into those schools and take our players and our cheerleaders and our mascot to try and encourage kids to lead active lifestyles. Appreciate the time, and I'll turn it over now to Bob Flynn.
Thank you, board members. Bob Flynn, Nissan Stadium, Tennessee Titans. Glad to have you all back here again at Nissan Stadium. So I'm going to go over what we've hosted recently, tell you about some things we have coming up, and we'll go over some projects that we have going on here. So this game was on September 30th against the Eagles. It's a great game for us, great finish. This picture was actually the game-winning touchdown. It's full house. It was a great atmosphere. It was great to see everybody go home extremely happy. Then a week later, we had the Ed Sheeran concert, and I thought this was a pretty cool picture of Ed on the stage, which would have been in the north end zone. Looking back at the camera, and you can see how full it was. It was a fantastic show. We had a great night. It was actually fairly warm for October. But then after that show, we flipped over, had the Ravens the following 8 days later for the Ravens here on a Sunday. It was an overcast day. Wasn't the game we wanted, but but it was we once again pulled off another event here a week after our concert. Then we had TSU homecoming versus Tennessee Tech, and this one went really well. I mean, in the past we've had some issues outside. We worked with the TSU staff, their homecoming staff, and all that stuff, and everything went really well. It was really a good event, And I sent Teresa Phillips a note about it, how just working together, it really was a good event. We were glad everything went well for that game. And I can't remember, they had a very good outcome for that game against Tennessee Camp. So what I did, we were having a little fun. So from June 1st to November 1st, we went back, and we've had a pretty busy summer and early fall. So here's just some numbers. So we had 17 events. We did over 755,000 tickets for sod replacement. So if you took one roll to the from the beginning to the end, it's 45 feet. So we had 17 miles of sod replacement during that time frame, which was 341,000 square feet of sod. So my turf crew has been very busy here, replacing it and replacing it and replacing it. But they've done an outstanding job. Every event we've had, we've been able to host. There's never been an issue, but they worked really hard, and I'm really proud of what they did. But 17 miles is a long way. So then we had 518,000 cans of beer sold during this time. So, that's cans. Then we had 41,000 hot dogs, 38,000 slices of pizza, and 25,000 bags of popcorn. During that same time, we also had 218 private events, which could have been, just events on the clubs, or it could have been ticketing events, it could have been community relations events. But, so during this time, we had all these different events going on, which when I got involved here, ownership said, let's make this building busier. And I think this is, we'll show you that we can put on big events, we can put on small events, and we're making things happen here. This past weekend was an off weekend for the team and everything, but I think we had 5 events here in the stadium. So, when I say 5 events, 5 club events. So it's all good. Right now, we have the Nashville Fire Department graduation ceremony going on right now. So that's why there's a little bit of a line getting in. I apologize. But Nashville Fire Department wanted to host their graduation here. More than happy to have you all here. They do a lot. They do a lot for us. So that's what's happening right now. So now moving for next year, and right now next year's calendar looks going to be busier than this year probably. So on a new one for Supercross on April 6th is going to be hosted right out of here. Once again, another field replacement. Then we'll go to Eric Church will be May 25th, and this is going to be a big concert right here. And CMAs and the Eric Church camp, they've worked together where we can host this concert here. So on May 25th, it's going to be the only stadium tour that he's going to do on his whole tour. It's going to be right here. So he wanted to make it big, and we were proud. We're happy to have him here. We think it's going to be a great show. Ticket sales right now are doing fabulous. So it's going to be a fun night on May 25th. Then the semifinal Gold Cup game, which hopefully I think we're in the USA bracket. So, that's going to be a huge game. For the Gold Cup 2 years ago, we had 47,000. That was for their first game of the tournament. Now we get a semifinal game, which years ago nobody thought about Nashville hosting a semifinal game here. And that's how much we've grown and how much they like coming to this building, because we can put these things on. It will be a challenge because the next day we have the country's largest 4th of July festival. But working with Butch and his team, we're going to be able to pull it off. And I expect to have 55,000, maybe 60,000 people here. So it'll be a good event here. All right. Well, another thing I've got to announce, which we just signed yesterday, on March 2nd of next year, we'll host the She Believes Cup, which is it's a great event. We hosted it 2 years ago. It was U.S. It's the U.S. women's soccer team, Germany, England, and France, and so they're going to come back again. It's a World Cup year. I'll be disappointed if we don't do more than 30,000. So hopefully I'm not disappointed when I talk to y'all in April of next year. But it's a World Cup year. If we have the weather like we had 2 years ago, I don't see why we can't do more than 25,000. But it's a doubleheader. It's if the rankings are still the same, it's 4 of the top 5 teams in the world coming here, and so it's a great event here. So that we just signed yesterday, and that's why it wasn't part of this. But I'm proud to have them back here. So all right, so for that does we are still working on a couple other events out there, but if things happen, like I said, this past year was a great year for us, most we've ever done. Next year I think will be the most we've ever done. So that's our goal. Nissan Stadium project updates. So the suite, club and suite level doors, they're done. You know, if you recall, we were having issues with water intrusion, with just, just the doors just were, we couldn't open them, couldn't shut them. There was a safety issue and all that stuff. So here's a great picture that we took. It's not that exciting, but for me, I like the new. I like the new look. So it's a great look. But now, okay. So for the video booth, the south end scoreboard. This is a twofold. It's for our, we have teams go up there and take videos of the games, but it's also where we have our SWAT and SWAT team. They go up there so they can see out in the parking lots a lot better. And now it's enclosed, and it's just a much safer environment that we have now. The next charging station. So we've got, for years, where are your charging station, where are your charging station, where are your charging station? Now we've got charging stations we've got them outside, we've got them in the lower bowl, we've got them on the club, and we've got them on the upper bowl. So fans can come here and they can pretty much find a charging station about any place they go here. So I'm very happy. I've yet to see it in my game notes I get on Mondays about, hey, you don't have any charging stations, so it helps me on Mondays. Grab-and-go concessions. So in the lower bowl, we built out 2 of these lower bowl, because the concept now is people just want to go in there, they grab a drink, grab chips or whatever, and our throughput is, I forget if it was before, is 1 every 3 or 4 minutes once you get in line to get through. Now these people are going in there, it's 1 for every minute or 2 minutes, because it's just a quick, it's grab and go. It's like going to a convenience store. You go grab your beer, grab your popcorn, and you're out. So we've got 2 on the concourse, 1 right pretty much below us, 1 on the east side also. But so far they've been great, and they look great also. Ceiling club smoking areas. This is something new that got added to the agenda or to the project list. I was having our windows cleaned in September, and my window cleaner said, "Hey, this roof is about to fall down here. Your caulking's coming out," and had a big sag in it. So we had our PBG builders go up there, and from the water intrusion, all that, it was about to fall. So we had to replace a good section of this. And they've been replaced. It happened on the east and west side. It wasn't just one side. So it was something in the building from the get-go. But I'm thankful to my window cleaners that they saw us, because it was about to come down, and right below it is my smokers area for the club. So if it happened during an event, it would not have been a pleasant event. Next one is, oh, great. That's it. So if y'all want to ask any questions, happy to answer any.
Are there any questions for Bob? I just want to say, well done. You guys are hosting events out here constantly. The building looks great, and it's really been fun to watch. So keep
Well, I appreciate that. And right now, we've got a 2 or 3 week little window. Our next game is next Sunday, so we're actually trying to catch up on some of the cleaning and all that stuff. But we've been busy, but I appreciate ownership and management giving us permission. Appreciate what you all do for us also. So thank you.
Thank you.
Janine Kaufman.
I know. Hello, Janine Kaufman, CFO with the Titans. Good morning, everybody, on this blustery day. Oh, my goodness. So we're going to go through the financials. There is not a lot of updates or changes really since last month, or really since we last presented. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to stop and ask me as we go through. The first topic is the ticket tax. The ticket tax is $3 on every ticket that is purchased within the bowl of the stadium, plus excess comps. And I made that short and sweet because it's a lengthy law. But so that's the gist of the $3. The $3 is divided into 2 different funds. It's a $2 fund and a $1 fund. Both of those funds are committed. So one is committed to bonds and one is committed to a stadium loan. The $2 fund, which is here, stands at $1.19 million. That's actually currently in the fund. As I mentioned earlier, it is used for bonds that were issued back in 2012, and those bonds were used to replace the distributed sound system and install a distributed sound system in the stadium. We put in elevators on both sides of the stadium, on the south side that service the upper deck. We put in yes, ma'am.
I just had a question.
Oh, yeah.
Could you address, with all these increased events, are we seeing an increase in the ticket tax and where we can look for that?
Yes, so do you want me to jump through that to that, Monica, or to that, Margaret, or I will get to, there's a recap that's coming up that breaks it down by year, that's in the presentation, so I can certainly skip to that and then come back.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we all know what the $1
That's fine,
is and the
totally
$2
fine.
is, and
That's
we
totally
could just
fine.
get to that.
So the ticket tax paid to date, which is, you can see here for fiscal year 2018, we are currently at $3 million that was collected. That was a little bit more than what was collected in fiscal year 2017. And as I've explained in the past, but just as a reminder, the ticket tax is remitted when we collect the tax. So a lot of it, the timing of the tax collection depends on when events go on sale, other than the Titans. The Titans revenue is pretty consistent in the flow to Metro because we normally do all of our invoicing during the off-season, and we set up a mechanism with Bob Lackey, and I'm going to jump to this slide really quick, which shows how we actually remit the Titans portion of the ticket tax. We do 10 installments of the ticket tax of an estimate of $162,000, and that flows monthly to Metro. And then as the games are actually played and the box office statement is finalized, then we true up that estimate by game as each game is closed out, if you will.
Here's where my questions are. It looks like to me in the fiscal year 15, 16, 17, 18, that we're hovering, which is a good amount, by the way, of $3 million. So the events, we seem to be increasing. So is it that we have not gotten as much from Titan ticket sales? Why is it that we, these increased events, that we still stay at $3 million every year?
No, and that's a good question. And the Titans ticket sales, there is a piece of paper, which I'm not sure if you guys have in your binders or not, but we can certainly circulate it. We send it to the Sports Authority regularly, and it breaks down by event. How much is collected in user fee in total, and it ties back to the $22.1 million that's been collected into the fund year to date. And so it lists out every single event and what's been collected by event. And the Titans piece has gone up. It's been going up since 2014. So the Titans piece has gone up. In 2017, we collected $1.8 million, and as Stuart mentioned earlier, we should see that number go up. So the Titans piece is going up. But a lot of it depends on, for example, like I said, when the tickets go on sale and how much is sold for an event. So for example, last week, we just went on sale with Eric Church. The event doesn't take place until 19.
Well, I know that. I mean, I'm just trying to, because I've been asking this for a while. I just want to make sure that I just want to make sure I understand why, with all these increased events, we are not seeing more of a ticket tax on an annual basis.
Well, it depends on attendance. Some of it depends on attendance, and some of it is related to the timing. And so we can certainly go back, Margaret. We would have to do a deep dive into exactly the flows. And Metro does get the detail on the user fee and when it's actually remitted and when it's collected.
No, this is more of the big picture of looking at this, and I don't, it's just this right here, these numbers here where I'm looking at, and just wondering when we can see an uptick given all the activity that's going on with the events. That's just kind of, you think this year we're going to see a higher?
We hope to, and it varies, and Margaret's hard, and I appreciate your question, and I know what you're asking. There's just not a clear-cut, delineated answer without kind of doing a deep dive.
Maybe we can talk further about the Finance Committee.
Sure.
It's probably a good place.
We'll make sure too, Monica, that we have that document that you guys have been sharing. I'm not sure if it's in our packets today, but on each of the events, we'll send it to the board this week.
Okay, go ahead.
Would it also be fair to say that some of the increase in the events are not in the bowl, so they?
Well, some of the times you have a bowl event, for example, but it not be a 60,000 person bowl event. Like Bob mentioned with She Believes, it's a great another bowl event, but the last time we only sold 25,000 tickets. So
But we heard him say we're going to sell more than
30, that's
Right.
what he said. I love that, Bob.
So we're not worried about that one.
Right.
It's going to
Yeah,
be
we're not worried
plus.
about that one.
That's right. And so, and you've also got to remember, this report here is fiscal year. It's not calendar. So it's a little bit different than the way I think of when I'm looking at events for a year, and when you hear Bob talk about events for a year, he's talking calendar and not necessarily Metro's physical year. So that's a little bit of the difference too. But yes, Margaret, I mean, we do hope to continue to increase and sustain the user fee around that $3 million a year mark. We would love to see it continue to rise and go up. And like I said, some of it does certainly depend on the timing of when those influxes come in and out. But yes, we can certainly do a deeper dive into all of that. That is certainly not a problem, and happy to do that for you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so I skipped over the funds, but if anybody has any questions on that, just let me know. The next is the capital fund summary. We are sitting at about $1 million in the capital fund. This is a fund that is kept by Metro, and you can see they made their fiscal year 2019 $1 million contribution, and we are sitting at about $1 million in that fund as well. Our unfiled reimbursements are at about $10.5 million as of 10/16. Updates on the projects, other than the project that Bob spoke of, which is the replacement for the ceilings in the smoking areas on the club. The only other new project that was added, it's not really a project, it's a capital stadium equipment item, was we had to purchase a spider. And it's not a spider as in Halloween spider. It's a spider that's in the control room. And that is a piece of equipment that basically resizes images to fit up on the Jumbotron. That piece of equipment failed, and so that piece of equipment is required to run the control room and the video boards for not just Titan events, but all events that are here in the stadium. And so other than that project, those were the only kind of two new projects that have been added to the CapEx communication tool since our last meeting. We have incurred an additional $500,000 in expense since our last meeting. Those all related to projects that were already on the current list, and we just had invoices come in where we were completing a lot of those projects, including the video surveillance, the radio communication tool, the charging stations that Bob spoke about, the grab-and-go stations. We've incurred some expenses there. And so we have submitted all of those invoices over to the Sports Authority, as well as a letter detailing all of those expenditures since the last meeting. And with that, I will take any questions that anybody might have on the CapEx communication tool or any of the other financials.
Any questions?
Okay.
Seeing none.
All right, well, we are going to close out today. We thank you again for being here with kind of a highlight video of Titans, what's been going on in the field and what's been happening in the community. And so, Derek, I'm going to turn it over to you. Get it? There you go.
Here's Jennings to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 30, to the 40, to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone! Touchdown,
Thank you all so much for being here, and that concludes our report today.
Thank you, Janine. I believe our next home game is not this week, but the following on, what's the date? The 11th. 11/11. So hopefully we're pretty comfortable here, so maybe we'll all see everyone on 11/11. Come back and root for our Titans. We really appreciate everyone hosting us today, the entire Titans and Nissan Stadium organization. Thank you for making us feel welcome, and we look forward to some more wins in our home stadium. As far as next month, we don't have a date yet for next month's meeting. We will be surveying the board, figuring out our December timeframe, so we'll be in touch, and if you guys have any conflicts, let us know. Thank you all for your attendance today, and seeing no further business, I would say together we are adjourned. So.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.